In September of 2016, we tried to record a Persona 4 retrospective, and it was shit, bad.
It was pretty bad, yeah.
And there was a point in which Yosuke's sexual preferences came up for some reason, and I was all like, "Oh, they actually have official art of this in one of the Persona 4 Arena anthologies." So I had attempted to look up Yosuke Mitsuru Persona 4 Arena. And rather than find the image I was looking for, I was greeted by a matchup, a match made in heaven.
Yes. A magnificent image, which we just spent like over an hour trying to find the original.
We were unable to find the true original, but we were able to find a thumbnail automatically generated by another site. So we were able to find something to represent it. The matchup is the angry video game nerd versus Mitsuru Kirijo. And seeing how there is an inferior matchup channel going around,
which will not be named,
but
for legal reasons.
But it will be shown because like the original image has the logo.
Yeah, don't look at that.
This is not some kind of battle to the death. This is a fifth.
What always some kind of death battle?
So we're going to realize this image. We don't have the animation budget. We'll see what gets thrown on screen. I'm guessing it's going to be fucking Mugen sprites. So I think that we should start by going over Mitsuru's feats, because honestly, I think that will take much less time.
Yeah, definitely.
Because when it comes to a Japanese role-playing game, you don't really have as many major feats being thrown around. A lot of it just comes from gameplay.
It's harder to figure out, like, the attack potency of a lot of these characters, but there is a pretty easy way to figure out their, like, speed, and that's simply the fact that they can dodge lightning, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Additionally, we can determine the abilities that do not directly... the non-destructive abilities, such as Mitsuru's infamous Marin Karen, which is capable of charming an enemy. She also is capable of using Spirit Drain to drain soul points from an enemy. That's abstract. And using Diarahan to fully restore her own HP.
Yeah, that's gonna be something that's gonna be annoying for the nerd to deal with, because he basically has to one-shot her, otherwise she can just heal.
Granted, in the arena games, using healing spells is shown to take time. Her last status condition inflicting move is Tentarafu, which is just a fun word to say, which causes all foes to panic. I don't see how this would be particularly helpful in this scenario, but but panic, charm, and self-restoration are the definitive abilities that she has, in addition to the more abstract heavy ice damage.
Yeah, it's very difficult to figure out, like, how destructive is this ice? So, like, we're lazy shits, so we mostly just use the Versus Battle Wiki to figure out Mitsuru, because that's easier. And according to the Versus Battle Wiki, Mitsuru is about mountain level, because in Persona 4 Arena, it stated that Erebus's attacks can, like, destroy mountains in the Arena story.
I asked when they look at Erebus's Pokédex entry.
Yeah. Erebus destroys mountains. He's like a Tyranitar.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, that about makes sense, the idea that Mitsuru could, like, destroy a mountain with her, like, at least her ice attacks. I don't think she could destroy a mountain with, like, her rapier. Mm-hmm. Like, that just seems kind of silly to me, but, like, I can completely see her being able to freeze a mountain.
Yeah. She does have a notable weakness to fire attacks, as well as just the general fragility of being a human. Because being a Persona user does not increase your actual durability all that much, as several Persona using characters are shown just dying to regular gunfire. We see this with Shinji in Persona 3. We see this with Goro Akechi in Persona 5, and we see a couple of Persona users just getting shot, getting wiped out.
And this doesn't quite transfer over to gameplay. Like in Persona 4, you can take bullets from Adachi during his boss fight, which like does damage but doesn't like guarantee kill them. So it's a little bit inconsistent, but like a bullet will hurt these people at the bare minimum.
Yeah, Mitsuru typically carries with her a rapier for thrusting. A vague. I don't know if her suit actually has any particular capabilities on it. Like
I don't think so. It seems to just be a leather suit or whatever it's made of.
It's just something that she wears. I don't know why she picked it. I think it's stated that her maid picked the outfit for her, and Mitsuru just went with it. And her evoker, which she can use to more easily summon her persona in tenser scenarios. For the sake of this, though, we will be going with the arena setup where she doesn't need to put it to her head to summon.
Yeah. That's always something you gotta get out of the way when talking about like Persona or like JoJo fights, is like can they see the stand/persona?
Yeah. Personas are never stated to be invisible like stands are. In fact, we know that they aren't because Yosuke is capable of witnessing Izanagi being summoned before he awakens to his persona. So Mitsuru's persona is visible, but we will say that we will be using arena rules. She can just summon it. She doesn't need to do the evoker animation. It's very hard to power scale RPG characters. I see why incidents like Cloud and Sephiroth happen now. Yeah.
It is something that's very, like, weird to figure out. Like, I think Final Fantasy VII is, like, a lot easier because you can have scaling, like, okay, Sephiroth, Safer Sephiroth does the fucking supernova thing, so he's, like, star level. Like, that makes sense. But with, like, Persona characters, it's a lot more roundabout and kind of weird.
Because a lot of things that happen in Persona is very self-contained.
Yeah.
It's abstract what a thunder rain is, because we never see a thunder rain being used on a mountain or a car. Or just a...
Yeah, it's always very self-contained, and it's never stated like, whoa, dude, you could have blown up a fucking solar system with that. Like,
I love how Junpei's talking about how...
Yeah, you know, power scaler Junpei.
Junpei is known in the power scaling community.
Yeah, he's a real boomstick, Junpei.
On the opposite end of the verse of this versus battle, we have the angry video game nerd. Now you rewatched the entirety of the nerd's library in order to.
Pretty much. I kind of skimmed through most of them. Like anything that I knew would have like a source of information, I would watch.
Yeah.
But I skimmed through.
You skimmed through the ones that are. Like, just a raw review. And you managed to put together a sizable list of feats.
Yes.
In episode 3 of the Angry Video Game Nerd, he throws a controller with such force that it explodes on impact. In episode 10, he fires Hadokens and sonic booms at the TV, which destroys the television. Destroying a TV isn't too big of a feat, but it does show some mastery over key control.
Yeah, key. But yeah, so the nerd definitely does have the ability to project like energy projectiles. It's just not something he does very frequently.
Because he doesn't really have a reason to. He also fires Hadokens and sonic booms in his battle against the Nostalgia Critic, which also features him taking lightning bolts from the devil, as well as dodging bullets from the Nostalgia Critic's gun. In episode 12, he murders Jason from Friday the 13th with ease. Nightmare on Elm Street video does also have him cloning himself, but this does happen in a dream. So this is of arguable canonicity. The nerd can just cause explosions to happen from his anger. This happens in many of his videos.
Yeah, the explosions don't seem to do anything. Like, I think at one point they knock over a poster. But the fear factor is still there. That those things are very disruptive and he can just, like, make things blow up.
they're destructive towards himself, so we can't assume that they do have some actual damaging properties. And he does, and despite being damaged by them, he is able to just tank these explosions point blank.
Yeah, they don't seem to bother him very much.
They more just make him angrier.
Yeah, which makes him make more explosions.
Yeah. It's a cycle. He has defeated Bugs Bunny in the original Bugs Bunny Birthday Blowout review. Was it Birthday Blowout or Crazy Castle that came first?
Birthday Blowout is the first one. Yeah. So the thing to note about this fight against Bugs Bunny is that Bugs Bunny never really put up a good fight. Like, he pretty much just beats the shit out of him.
Later on, Bugs Bunny fights the nerd at full power, and it does take an assist from Guitar Guy in order to take him out. But he is able to take out both Bugs Bunny and Bugs Bunny's full power form in Woody Woodpecker. I love these.
They're pretty great. They're the best feats. This shit needs to be on the Versus Battle Wiki.
It isn't.
We were really disappointed because the nerd doesn't have a Versus Battle Wiki entry.
But like other characters just do. Where's all the internet reviewers with their skits and storylines?
Yeah, I want to know how strong Spoonie is.
I want to know how strong Linkara is. Linkara has a fucking arsenal.
I'm Linkara. I'm multiversal.
In his full-powered nerd outfit, he is able to damage literally Satan, but required the help of Super Mecha Death Christ to properly defeat him.
The amazing thing about the nerd is that he unironically power scales off of the devil.
He power scales off of both the devil and the Toon Force of Bugs Bunny.
And the Nostalgia Critic.
And the Nostalgia Critic scales off of Linkara, and Linkara scales off of Cosmic Horrors, because that's what Linkara wanted to happen in his comic book reviews. In a testament to the nerd's durability, he's able to both breathe in space and go in close proximity to the sun in order to throw Superman 64 into the sun.
Yeah. So this also shows that the nerd has, like, incredible heat resistance. Like, that's not really gonna matter in this fight.
But he also has cold resistance because he's surviving in the cold vacuum of space.
Right, he seems to just not give a shit about temperatures.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, ice attacks, they're still gonna inflict harm upon him, but the cold element isn't gonna bother him.
Yeah. In lesser minor victories, he was able to defeat the Joker from Batman. He was able to defeat his own Frankenstein monster in Franken-Nerd, which also had him tanking lightning again, now that I think about it.
Yeah.
He was able to grow to the size of a building and go toe-to-toe with Rob the Robot, who changed every video game in the world into Gyromite and Stack Up.
Yeah, so this is an example of the nerd defeating something that has reality warping powers. It seems like he's somewhere in between being able to stop something changing every game and the Glitch Gremlin, who's able to, like, actually just fuck with reality. Mm-hmm. So the Glitch Gremlin is actually probably stronger than the devil.
Yeah, because the Glitch Gremlin was just able to fuck with reality, and the nerd was unable to do anything about it.
Right, whereas he could at least hurt the devil.
Yeah.
With the full outfit.
Yeah. The nerd's mere words are able to inflict physical damage.
Yeah, so the nerd can curse at something, like he does this in the Ghosts and Goblins review. I'm pretty sure that's what that one is. But he's able to just say, like, fuck, and curse at the cartridge, and it causes physical, like, RPG damage to it. So the nerd cursing it causes pain.
And it works off of Final Fantasy numbers, which are much larger than Persona numbers. So on a pure stat level, the nerd seems to be higher there. The nerd is able to revive the dead by pressing the AVGN code.
Yeah, so Guitar Guy had been dead for a good bit. I'm pretty sure they show his skeleton in, like, quite a few episodes before, episode 110. So he's just been sitting there for a while. And the nerd uses the AVGN code and just brings him back to life perfectly.
Yeah. As if his body hadn't been decomposing for years.
Yeah, and, like, time does in fact flow in the AVGN chronology.
Yeah. We see this in the Seaman review, in which the nerd alters the flow of time by adjusting the clock on his Dreamcast. And this causes the eventual reset of the universe.
And of course he makes reference to like how many years have gone by between different episodes and such.
And he does travel between various points in his own personal timeline in the Mega Man games review.
Yeah, so the nerd does in fact have some level of time manipulation.
On the weaknesses end of things, though, he is capable of having his brain fucked with, as shown in the Polybius review, in which Polybius just took control fairly easily.
Yeah, the nerd, he has a kind of inconsistent, like, mental willpower, to where, like, sometimes he'll, like, fight and resist to the death, and sometimes he just gives in to despair.
Zetsubo. He is also sometimes much quicker to anger than other times, and retribution from the nerd can vary greatly.
Yeah.
Sometimes he just will throw the game to the wall. Sometimes he will just erase it from existence. The nerd is shown to be able to slide between universes, as shown in the Bernstein Bears review. The nerd has died at least once.
Yeah.
There are several. The nerd is mortal, despite all of.
He gets killed by Woody Woodpecker, Bugs Bunny.
Equipment-wise, the nerd typically doesn't have access to much of his arsenal, but the Power Glove and Zapper are considered low-level nerd equipment that he can just take out at any point in time. Whereas he does have his super form, where he equips all of the NES accessories, as well as the Super Scope, which is a Super Nintendo accessory. Outside of video game accessories, he is also shown to use a whip every now and then, such as in the Castlevania videos, as well as the Indiana Jones review, as well as having ghost-busting equipment from the Ghostbusters review.
He also has, like, a bow and arrow. I forget which video this was in exactly, but I remember he destroys a game once with a fucking arrow and, like, lights it on fire.
Yeah. From like, super advanced technologies that can only be expressed through special effects to more practical effects like the bow and arrow. The nerd has a large arsenal and a lot of durability. If he's truly willing to do all the things that he says he'd rather do, that is some kind of durability. I don't know how to scale that, but I'm pretty sure most of the things he'd say he'd rather do would just
kill a normal man.
Yeah, I think most of them qualify as like cruel and unusual punishments that violate the Geneva Convention. So with that in mind, how do we see this fight playing out?
Okay, so I'll just come out and say it. I think the nerd crushes Mitsuru.
Yeah, Mitsuru has the clear advantage in speed and basic range, but once the nerd starts taking out his projectile weaponry, he does start to gain the edge in that respect. And the nerd just has a more diverse power set.
So, like, the thing is, I think Mitsuru is a better fighter. Like, she's actually trained in the use of that weapon. But the nerd has so many hacks and just weird bullshit about him that it's very, very difficult to defeat the man.
Yeah. If he just starts cursing, he doesn't even need to directly aim the explosions. They just sort of happen arbitrarily.
Yeah.
You can't predict those easily. If he just did a fucking clusterfuck bomb, he could just fucking carpet bomb the arena with his filthy mouth. And if those explosions do count for fire, Mitsuru is going to have a very rough time keeping her footing.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, if we say that the explosions he's generating are considered fire, then that's a problem for Mitsuru.
Yeah. Ultimately, I don't think Mitsuru could take on a kaiju-sized nerd.
Yeah, like, the thing is, the nerd has so many just tricks he can pull out of his sleeve. Like, let's say Mitsuru, like, just has the upper hand for whatever reason. Uh-oh, the nerd is giant now.
Yeah. She freezes the nerd in ice. The nerd grows to fucking kaiju size, breaking out of the ice. Then he could just grab Mitsuru with one hand and fly into the sun.
Yeah, and that's death.
Yeah.
Like, Mitsuru does not survive. He doesn't even need to bring her to the sun. He just has to take her to the outer reaches of the ozone layer.
Because Mitsuru is still human and needs that oxygen. Mitsuru's hacks don't actually benefit her all that much. I'm not sure how much benefit she could get out of the charm person, because that.
See, here's my thinking, is that it wouldn't affect him because the nerd is always afflicted with rage.
No, he does have a good time every now and then. So I think he could be afflicted. I think the charm person, like, that'll last a bit, but when that runs out, then he's back to being angry. If you went for panic, then you're just going to make him fucking swear faster and say shit like "cow a fucking piece of dog shit."
Yeah, like an irrational nerd is like arguably more dangerous than just a nerd that's angry, because that's when he starts to do crazy shit.
Yeah,
is when he's like really freaking out, like time travel.
Yeah, or just destroy the existence of his room by just blowing up everything out of pure anger, like in the Die Hard video. His unpredictability combined with the general scale that he has from his various movie parody type scenes just make him immensely powerful. It's so little of a contest. We have to ask, why did we make this video? And the answer is just because we saw this fucking image.
Yeah, this image has cursed us. I think we've wanted to make this fucking video for like almost 3 years at this point since we first saw it.
Yeah, it's been 3 years since we've seen this image, and we still think about it.
It still haunts us. Like, this is more a battle of us against the image than like the nerd versus Mitsuru.
Because Persona characters don't have big feats. While we would concede that like Persona characters are very powerful, we can't exactly quantify it that easily. We can barely quantify the nerd, but we know that whatever number the nerd has, it's bigger than Mitsuru's number. One thing we can't quantify for sure is why this image was made.
Yeah, that's truly the greatest mystery, is what was he thinking?
What were they thinking? Okay, so Death Battle template images, they're nothing too uncommon. You can look up any character you like and add Death Battle to it, and you could probably find something. Like, unless it's something that's like absolutely obscure, like fucking rants, you're going to be able to find a Death Battle easily just by Google searching it. That's not even going to the communities that think about this stuff. But usually they have some kind of parallel, like a shared fan base or a
similar element they use, or fighting style, or there's some connecting chain to where you can look at it and say, okay, that's why.
Yeah, this has no reason to be, and you clicking on this video, you're probably wondering, why the fuck are they asking this?
What are they fucking smoking to where they wanted to make this?
And we weren't the ones smoking, it was some other guy.
Yeah, we're just inhaling the vapors that he's generated. Like, he's hotboxed our lives, and we've just been dealing with it ever since.
I've seen more sensible angry video game nerd death battles, like him versus Travis Touchdown. I could see that. I could see the nerd versus Scott Pilgrim. Like those seem sensible to me. There's no connecting thread.
Yeah, nothing. Like, what's the connection? They're both human? Like, I don't get it. Like
Mitsuru also says fuck. I'm sure there are weirder ones out there.
Oh, for sure.
But this one, by the nature of when we found it, and how often it's come up in conversation, combined with the fact that the image was later deleted from, like, his account and everything on it was purged.
It was nearly lost media.
Like, we would have just seemed like fucking crazy people.
Yeah, we would have had to explain, okay, we swear this was a thing we saw.
Yeah. And because we have this vague thumbnail, we have that. We have that to go off of. Whoever made this, if you are out there in this world...
if you still exist in the third dimension and haven't leaped to the fourth...
Can you explain to us the nature of this matchup?
Yeah, like I'm very curious.
We'll invite you onto the channel if you can tell us what you were thinking.
Ass!
Fuck! Next time on Fifth Fights!
I need to look at the image again. Fuck, where did it go? Here it is.
Next time I'll fist fight.
Next time on Fifth Fights in 2022 when we lose the fucking image. We need to track it down.